up with some members of the cast who also shared their thoughts on the essence of this historical drama film.
It is full of everything. You see friendship, you see anger in display, and you see a defense of a people. And you see a girl in love with her kingdom.
The Legend of Inikwe, a movie set in the ancient kingdoms of Igala and Benin, mirrors a compelling tale of two kingdoms on the brink of war. What is to be done to prevent the catastrophe and fatalities which come with war? At the end of the screening, some more guests bear their minds on the film.
It's just our story. We just encourage everybody to watch it because this is Nigeria, this is Kogi, this is, they're showing the real things happening in Nigeria, so it's quite interesting.
Overall, it's a very good movie, for an epic movie. Fantastic, nice work, Mr. Johnson. Nice work to all the people that put work into it. Fantastic job.
The Legend of Inikwe, a historical reflection of our past as a people, is set to hit the cinemas soon. Coming home from the entertainment circles, we've come to the end of another interesting time out on Nigerian Movies Today. We do hope you've had fun with us and you'll join us again same time next week for another refreshing package. But before then, you know that you can reach us for your comments, your suggestions, and whatever it is you want us to do on the show. You can do this by reaching out to us on our Instagram handle at Nigerian Movies Today. Till we meet again, see you same time next week. I remain Ololade Adinijadele. God bless you and God bless Nigeria. Bye-bye.
Today, the cessation of movement, physical distancing measures, and the prohibition of mass gatherings remain the most efficient and effective way of reducing the transmission of the virus. By sustaining these measures, combined with extensive testing and contact tracing, we can take control and limit the spread of the disease.
I am Elizabeth Abai. I am here to talk about facts. There is so much misinformation and distortion out there, especially on the social media. All it takes is just a click and the fake news goes viral. However, here in NTA, we deal with facts.
My job is to go out there and comb for factual news and information, just the way it is, all in the interest of the nation. I'm Naja'atu Tijani.
Here on the NTA, we present only the facts, verified. Beware of fake news, don't be a victim. Stay tuned to the NTA.
Especially at this time of the coronavirus pandemic.
My name is Nnamdi Ojipo.
This is the news on NTA International, and I am Lami Ali with the headlines. People's Republic of China donates another set of medical supplies to Nigeria in response to the COVID-19 pandemic.
As COVID-19 cases rise in Nigeria, Ministry of Science and Technology working on production of easy diagnosis rapid test kits. Also on the news, the federal government constitutes committee to advise on the country's post-COVID-19 economic prosperity. Thank you for joining us. The Nigeria Center for Disease Control has announced 35 new cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria. The breakdown shows that 19 cases are in Lagos, 9 in the Federal Capital Territory, 5 in Kano and 2 in Oyo State. As at 10/20, 15th of April, there are 442 confirmed cases of COVID-19 in Nigeria, out of which 152 have been discharged and 13 deaths recorded. Meanwhile, the World Health Organization says coronavirus cases in Africa could hit 10 million in 6 months. Joyce Ometo has an overview of the pandemic worldwide.
As governments around the world consider lifting lockdown measures, the coronavirus numbers remain grim. The Johns Hopkins University tally collated on Friday as at 6 p.m. shows that COVID-19 infections globally has now reached 2,219,314, with a death toll of 149,900. Chinese authorities in Wuhan, in a major revision of its data, say the number of deaths were 50% higher than previously reported. The total number of deaths in China is now 4,632, an increase of more than 1,200. News of the amended death toll came as the British government extended its lockdown measures to at least another 3 weeks. Britain's death toll from the coronavirus has reached 14,576. More than 300,000 people have been tested, out of which 108,692 tested positive. Meanwhile, the German health minister said the country's outbreak is now under control after a decline in infection rates. He says the number of patients who have recovered is much higher than the number of daily infections. 4,193 people have died in the country. In the meantime, the World Health Organization has warned that Africa could become the next epicenter of the COVID-19 pandemic. Tally by Worldometer as of 6 p.m. revealed that the continent has 19,606 confirmed cases, 976 deaths, and 4,769 recoveries. South Africa has recorded 14 more deaths as a result of coronavirus, bringing the total to 48. While Djibouti has reported 156 new cases in the last 24 hours, its largest spike in numbers in a single day. The country of less than 1 million population now has a death toll of 591. And that's it from here. Many thanks for staying. I am Joyce Ometu.
Meanwhile, the People's Republic of China, in its contribution towards the implementation of a coordinated response to the COVID-19 pandemic in Nigeria, has donated another set of medical supplies. A statement by the Chinese embassy says the new donation was handed over at the cargo wing of the Nnamdi Azikiwe International Airport, Abuja. The items were handed over by Li Yuan, the Chinese counselor on behalf of the Chinese government, and received by Abraham Yakubu, the Deputy Director for International Cooperation, Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning, on behalf of the federal government of Nigeria. The items included 1,500 pieces of respiratory masks, 10,000 pieces of surgical masks, 1,750 pieces of disposable surgical gowns, 350 pieces of infrared thermometers, and 1,750 pairs of medical goggles. Others include 9,750 pairs of gloves and 9,750 pairs of shoe covers. The items are the second batch of medical supplies from the government of China to Nigeria. Now, Nigeria is at the verge of producing less expensive and easy diagnosis rapid test kits for COVID-19. The Shedder Science and Technology Complex, an agency under the Federal Ministry of Science and Technology, is spearheading the research in Nigeria in collaboration with some local and international institutions in the production process of the test kits. Director, Biotech Research Center in the agency, Shola Odunsonya, explained that the rapid test kits, which is being developed locally with the aptamer-based test methodology, will be similar to the pregnancy test strips, and the procedure can provide reliable test results within 30 minutes. This will be an advantage over the usual test done with the PCR machine, which takes 2 days to get results and a limited coverage of the population.
That is rapid, that is specific for the presence of the virus, and this is its development. It is based on what is called aptamers. Aptamers are sometimes called ribo switches because they can switch genes on and off. This particular aptamer we want to use is specific for SARS-CoV-2, the virus in question. So this tells us the virus is in the person's body or it is not there.
Technology, Dr. Ogbunnaonu, who inspected facilities at the complex, said the kit will help actualize the federal government target of 4,000 tests per day.
And we're very happy that SHESCO can contribute a laboratory that will help in testing the SARS-CoV-2. We have 3 PCRs here. A real-time PCR and 2 others, and all the supporting equipment. There will just be some little upgrading in terms of making provision for reagents and all that for them to be able to do this.
Equipments developed by the agency to fight COVID-19 are face shields and nose masks. Now, the federal government is apparently concerned with the effects of the restriction of movements on the economic well-being of Nigerians, put in place palliatives to alleviate the sufferings of the people. We are joined via Skype Reverend David Ogolo, Executive Director, African Network for Environment and Economic Justice on the federal government's conditional cash transfer. Glad to have you join us on the news, sir. Million households to be included in the existing conditional cash transfer to reduce the effects of COVID-19. How would you describe this gesture?
It's very important. That the government has decided to again give priority to the issue of the poor in the country by providing this palliative support is something that is welcome development. And the decision of the president to again encourage the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs to again scale up the social register from 2.6 million to 3.6 million is also sends a very strong positive message across the entire country. And that certainly would provide opportunity to reach out to more people who before now was not benefiting from the cash transfer process. But I need to quickly add that there's a difference between the traditional cash transfer that was going to the poor people and the current COVID-19 palliative. There are quite 2 different things entirely, and this need to be sent very strongly to Nigerians. But however, we must commend the president for again taking leadership, for making it possible for Nigeria again to feel the presence of government at this point in time. And what are the challenges to scale up this social register? I think government need to invest to strengthen the NASCO, strengthen the institutions that will be saddled with the responsibility to carry out this assignment. And the Nigerians also need to also cooperate with the institutions particularly the National Assembly, who have also raised questions about the credibility of the entire process. There is no doubt they've been challenged in the implementation of social investment program in Nigeria. But so far, we are encouraged that at least the recovered asset from Abacha loot has been used for the social investment program in Nigeria. Poor Nigerians have now benefited from recovered stolen money. And the Abacha $322.5 million that is used for financing the social investment in the country has been very helpful. As one of the feed monitors across the country, we've been to the communities where they are benefiting the current 5,000 naira. And with the COVID-19, the government has scaled it up to 20,000 naira for the 4 months from January to April.
Let's get your assessments of the exercise so far, being that you led several civil society organizations in monitoring the first tranche of the disbursements to cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic on the vulnerable. I want you to give us your assessments of the exercise so far, being that you led several civil society organizations in monitoring the first tranche of the distribution exercise for the coronavirus pandemic to the vulnerable.
I couldn't hear you very well.
I want you to give us your assessments of the exercise so far, being that you are part of several civil society organizations that are monitoring the first tranche of the disbursements to cushion the effects of the coronavirus pandemic on the poor. We seem to be having poor connection there, so we move on. Now, we're going to take a short break now. You're watching the news on NTA International. We'll be back with more stories after the break.
To be with GoTV's super cool kids channels.
That sounds fun!
From funky friends that'll keep even the little ones busy.
Let's do this!
To learn as you watch educational shows for curious young minds.
You can do some amazing things!
There's plenty for everyone. Tune in to our kids shows and get everything you need to keep the kids entertained and learning the fun way. GoTV, live it, love it.
Many thanks for joining us again. Now, the federal government has constituted a committee that will track all challenges associated with the lockdown as it affects businesses in the country. The committee, which is under the supervision of the Ministry of Trade and Investment, is also to advise governments on the post-COVID-19 economic prosperity of the country. Musa Baba Aliu has that report.
Operators of small-scale businesses are the worst hit by the lockdown as a result of coronavirus pandemic, as indicated in the Global Business Index report. Statistics indicate that global trade and business is almost at a standstill, with adverse effect on the social and economic well-being of nations. Here in Nigeria, government has put in place measures towards ensuring that small-scale businesses continue to strive as fight against COVID-19 intensifies.
We'll be able to show Nigerians made in Nigeria products that have been certified by some. If they come out positive as good, that is what we will promote for selling across the country. And we're also talking with any person who has a product that is meant for COVID. We will be given expedited certification process.
Apart from financial support being provided by the Central Bank of Nigeria, the Ministry of Trade and Investment provided the window for producers of essential commodities and pharmaceutical products.
When this issue of lockdown came in, the challenge that a lot of people were facing, those that are in the production industries and manufacturing, has to do with transportation and getting logistics to their point of sales. And with this setup of this task force committee to ensure that the food and essential commodities are distributed, it's been a good idea. So with this now, most of the production industries are ongoing to ensure that there's sustainability in production of goods and services.
Investigation indicates that producers, marketers and distributors of food items and other essential commodities are enjoying government cover during the lockdown period. In Abuja, Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Now, to talk more on the functions of the committee constituted by the federal government to look into the country's post-COVID-19 economic impact is Babura Tijani Inwa. He's the Director of Policy, Planning and Research and Statistics, Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Now, what measures have been put in place to ensure that small-scale businesses continue to strive during and after the lockdown?
Yeah, thank you for having me, Lami. As you are earlier aware, a lot of measures were put in place in order to make the economy moving. That's the reason and the essence of establishing the EOC, Emergency Operations Center, which has line officers that take care of specific responsibilities with a view to ensuring sustained and coordinated distribution, production, delivery of essential goods and services across the length and breadth of the country. And that is what we are doing 24/7.
Now, there seems to be some misunderstanding amongst members of the public concerning the directives being given by authorities on the types of businesses that are to operate during this lockdown. Could you give us specifics on the businesses that are allowed to operate during this period?
Yeah, driving from Mr. President's speech on the lockdown, emphasis was made on essential commodities. And in order to ensure their even distribution across the country, the essential commodities, in conjunction with the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, NASIMA, NASI, that is National Association of Small Scale Industry, NANS, National Association of Nigerian Traders, and a host of others in the trade environment. Collation of those items that form essential needs were made, ranging from pharmaceuticals, foods, and other essential service raw materials. And thus are the ones that are ongoing and moving. Added to that, we also support local industries. As you could see, the essential preventive items now urgently needed are sanitizers, face masks, and the rest of them. So whoever is producing or intending to produce this, come to the ministry. Like for example, mask, we take it to SON, Standard Organization of Nigeria, which is also another parastatal under the ministry. That one will certify and give it the standard acceptable conformity for it to be used by everybody. So we have that on ground, and we are in collaboration with NAFDAC. NAFDAC also is a sister agency that is also working in order to ensure healthy and well-being of Nigerians. So in a nutshell, businesses are thriving, especially bearing in mind that we are at the forefront in actualizing Mr. President's promise to Nigerians of removing over 100 Nigerians from poverty. So we are championing that. We are putting that in perspective. We are driving it. It will interest you to know that SMEDAN, another organ under the ministry, that is Small and Medium Enterprise Development Agency, is doing great lot in ensuring that small scales industries and business do not suffer.
Now we want you to give us the role of your committee in the wider picture and the current perspective in the Situation Room.
Yeah, the role of the committee can be captured under 6 sub-objectives, with the first being to prevent and control the speed of COVID-19. That is how to halt it, not to be spreading. 2, to facilitate the sustainability of production of essential commodities during the COVID period pandemic. 3, facilitate unhindered delivery across the nation, especially to points of critical needs and a host of others. So in a nutshell, this is what we have been doing. A lot of interventions have taken place since our inception. For example, all the trucks that are moving goods and services across the country, with the establishment of this committee, there is a lifeline that once you have a problem across any of the highways, a call will be put across the area where you have that problem and it will be solved. And this is not unconnected with the sound and the good relationship that we are having with, for example, the Nigerian police force and the other agents that are responsible for limiting movement and the related issues like that.
Thank you very much for those insights. We have been joined by by a member of the committee constituted by the federal government to look into the country's post-COVID-19 economic initiative, and I just finished speaking with Barbara Tijani Inua. He's a Director, Policy Planning, Research and Statistics of the Federal Ministry of Industry, Trade and Investment. He's also a part of that committee that has been recently constituted. Moving on now, 22 offshore staff of ExxonMobil have allegedly been arrested by the River State government. According to reports, 21 of them are members of the Petroleum and Natural Gas Senior Staff Association of Nigeria and PANGASAN, while the remaining one is the company's chief security officer. Reports say they are, as at Friday morning, still at Elekaya Stadium, Port Harcourt, where they were being detained, verbally assaulted and starved since their alleged arrest. According to PANGASAN ExxonMobil branch secretary Kingsley Odoidwa, at about 3:30 p.m. Thursday, April 16th, the River State Commissioner of Police, with his team and a top army commander, intercepted the convoy conveying 21 ExxonMobil personnel who are PANGASAN members on their way to Intels. Now, the Co-Marshal of the Federal Road Safety Corps, Dr. Boboye Oyemi, has directed the sector commanders of the FCT and Lagos State to work with their respective state authorities to ensure effective mobile court operations for violators of the presidential order. Thus, the Co-Marshal says, is to ensure total compliance with the restriction order placed by the federal government to primarily avert unnecessary spread of COVID-19 pandemic. According to the Corps' Public Education Officer, Bisi Kazim, the establishment of the mobile court has become necessary at this point as the only proven remedy to the spread of the virus, adding that the Corps will not intentionally decide to anyone that intentionally decides to violate the order, the mobile court will serve as a deterrent. This directive also applies to other states where mobile courts have been constituted by state governments for the same purpose. He gave the penalties as follows. Individuals arrested violating the order are to pay as a fine the sum of 10,000 naira and also engage in community service for 7 days. Tricycle operators who violate the order are to pay 7,000, while motorcycle operators will pay 7,000, cars 20,000 and trucks 50,000. All the fines also attract a 7-day compulsory community service. He also cautioned non-essential workers who do not have anything doing outside to avoid leaving their homes, as the government is not ready to risk any further spread. Now, President Muhammadu Buhari Thursday evening has described as extremely horrifying the news of the death of 14 persons and injury to many from a fire incident at an IDP camp in Gala, Borno State. Naja'atu Tijani has details.
Reacting to the sad incident, President Muhammadu Buhari directed the Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development to investigate and report the circumstances leading to the fire, as well as advise on ways to avert a future occurrence. He further directed that urgent assistance be given to victims as he prayed for the repose of the souls of those who died in the incident and the quick recovery of the injured. Meanwhile, the Minister of Humanitarian Affairs, Disaster Management and Social Development, Saidia Umar Farouk, commiserates with the families who lost their loved ones in the Thursday inferno at the camp for internally displaced persons in Ngala local government area of Borno State.
Thank you, Nejatu. In another development, there was a fire outbreak today at the INEC headquarters in Abuja. Mayor Ogidi reports.
Lockdown unlocked at the INEC headquarters, Abuja. No thanks to fire outbreak. The main story building standing tall, overlooking the adjoining smaller ones. These flats, separated from the main building, houses the media center and the elections and political parties monitoring department. And at about 11 a.m. Friday, smoke was sighted at the elections and political parties monitoring department.
A few staff in the office of the director, election and party monitoring, and they noticed smoke coming out in the office. So they rushed out and then made sure that and went to the fire service within the commission itself, who came to begin to make attempts to put out the fire.
No life was lost, but
in terms of actual damage, some of the things we lost are photocopiers, computers, and other office equipment. But there's no serious and fundamental damage done to any of our critical documents and materials.
This brings to 3 major fire incidents in the Federal Capital Territory in less than 2 weeks. First was the Treasury House, the Corporate Affairs Commission, and now the INEC headquarters, all attributed to electrical faults. And there is a call for more prudence. Mayor Ogidi, NTA News.
In the meantime, Minister of Health Dr. Osagi Ihaniri has appealed to infected persons to disclose correct information to health workers for correct diagnosis and to improve chances of survival. He advised the public and private donors to adhere to social distancing protocols while distributing palliatives. Chinese medical team, he said, are still under 14-day quarantine. However, officials of the Ministry of Health are interfacing with them through video conferencing for expertise on treatment and management of coronavirus. Commodities and equipment received from the United Nations and China were duly decontaminated by Nigerian health authorities before being dispensed for use. The Minister of Information and Culture, Lai Mohammed, advises Nigerians to avoid being misled by mischievous content on social media, but to subscribe to authoritative sources like the NDDC for credible information on coronavirus. Chairman of the task force, Boss Mustafa, says 1 month after its inauguration, the PTF has strengthened and intensified the strategy of one national response against COVID-19. PTF Chairman Boss Mustafa wants all purveyors of fake news to refrain from misleading Nigerians and denting the fight against coronavirus. And that's the size of our package for today. We thank you for being there. I am Lami Ali.
For now, the best and most efficient way to avoid getting infected is through regular hygienic and sanitary practices, as well as social distancing. As individuals, we remain the greatest weapon to fight this pandemic. By washing our hands regularly with clean water and soap, disinfecting frequently used surfaces and areas, coughing into a tissue or elbow, and strictly adhering to infection prevention control measures in health facilities, we can contain this virus.
This is NDDC Today.
Hello, good evening. Nice you can join us. Now, I don't want to join the bandwagon of making COVID-19 a superstar like it's been all over the world so far, but it's something that we should be concerned about. We're here as I speak. We have 320 cases in Nigeria. Not too many deaths, thank God. And out of that, we have 20 cases in the Niger Delta that has 20 million people. That averages out at about 1 per million, so it's not so bad. But as little as it is, the NDDC is not resting on its oars. The NDDC is determined to do its own little bit to make sure this pandemic does not spread as it's spreading elsewhere in the world. It is intervening in providing support to the NDDC and other state governments in the Niger Delta to see how it can be managed. Welcome to NDDC Today. I'm Patrick Oke. So this thing we can't stop talking about, the COVID-19. The NDDC is very interested in the welfare of its 20 million inhabitants and is doing its best to help the NDDC and other agencies, particularly the state governments, in curbing the pandemic. So it's committing 1.4 billion naira to see how it can do so. Now, we brought you the interview of the MD last week, and it's not saying much more different now. It's breaking down the amount that NDDC is going to spend in helping. For example, 775 million is being set aside to help in buying drugs, ventilators, and providing oxygen apparatus. And then another further 270 million is going to be spent in helping the states to establish isolation centers. So let's hear from the professor himself, the acting MD of the NDDC, Professor Kemebradikumo Daniel Ponde.
The acting managing director of the Niger Delta Development Commission, NDDC, Professor Kemebradikumo Ponde, recently granted a press interview in Port Harcourt, where he spoke on a wide range of issues about the commission, as well as gave assurances that the NDDC would continue its strides to better the lot of the people of the Niger Delta region. One of the issues that was of great concern to Professor Ponde is the recent coronavirus pandemic, otherwise known as COVID-19, ravaging the world. The NDDC boss assured that the Commission will intervene to protect the people of the Niger Delta region from this dreaded disease. Professor Ponde said that the NDDC would collaborate with other stakeholders, including state governments in the region, to fight the disease.
The NDDC has started making plans to intervene in this COVID-19 pandemic. We have started looking at the different isolation points in the 9 states of the NDDC. We're interacting with them to find out what is on ground.
The NDDC Chief Executive Officer observed that the treatment of the disease was not limited to drugs, but included the ability to make sure that the patients were able to breathe properly, and this should be done using ventilators, and revealed that the NDDC was doing everything possible to ensure that it acquired more ventilators and oxygen to healthcare facilities in the Niger Delta, vital requirements for the treatment of the disease.
We are also taking stock of the ventilators and oxygen, and to see if they have the capacity or they have these in stock, because when people come down with COVID-19 infection that requires hospitalization, the mainstay of treatment includes not limited to just the drugs, but the ability to make sure that the patient is able to breathe properly, and this will be done using ventilators.
The NDDC boss further revealed that the Commission was looking at contributing in the area of treatment because most of the activities so far carried out had been on prevention, social distancing and hand washing, as well as using sanitizers. He remarked that the Commission was also looking at the drugs that have been used so far in other climes for the treatment of the disease, stating that there were some antiviral drugs that the NDDC were trying to make available in a proactive manner. He emphasized that the NDDC was going a step above what others had been doing.
There are some antiviral drugs, remdesivir and others. We're trying to see the availability of these drugs. We're trying to be proactive. So the NDDC is going a step above what others are doing.
As for testing, Professor Ponde said that the NDDC was leading that for the Nigeria Center for Disease and Control, NCDC, which is coordinating the exercise across the country. As a professor of virology and one who is eminently qualified to know, Ponde revealed that most of its kits that were being used are not efficient and cannot detect COVID-19. According to him, everybody has one way or another been exposed to coronavirus, and those kits just test for antibodies that already exist in most of us.
So we have to be very careful as per the kits and purchase of kits. So the NDDC has tried to distance itself from that and depend on the NCDC for appropriate testing.
Ponde affirmed that the NDDC would identify the isolation centers in the Niger Delta states so as to assist in strengthening them and building their capacity for service delivery.
That's what we're trying to find out. How many isolation centers are available, how many ICUs are available in the 9 states, so that we could coordinate, we could assist them in the form of some form of intervention to strengthen their capacity and strengthen their healthcare delivery at these critical points.
Professor Ponde stressed the need for people to imbibe simple health tips like social distancing, good coughing etiquette, and regular hand washing with soap and water. He advised that hand washing techniques be taught on radio and television.
Washing with soap is very, very important, and the real hand washing technique most people do not know. And I think those are the things that they should be taught, social media, on TV and everywhere, the proper hand washing techniques.
Speaking on the free medical program of the NDDC, the acting NDDC MD said that the Commission's 2019 budget made provisions for its resuscitation, stating that the Directorate of the Health, Education and Social Services (EHSS) of the NDDC is already working on a template for it. He revealed that the Commission was looking for people that will partner with it in the program. He said the Commission was also planning to roll out a monthly program that will run across the 9 states of the region. According to him, the plan is to have 3 in every state under the NDDC mandate states in a month at the same time.
It will be done monthly across all the 9 states in each of the senatorial districts. So our plan is to have like 3 in a state in a month and in all the states at the same time. And we believe that will reduce the disease burden, that especially in the hard-to-reach areas of the Niger Delta region.
On the Commission's Foreign Postgraduate Scholarship Scheme, Professor Ponde reiterated the determination of the NDDC to meet all its obligations to beneficiaries of the scheme, stressing that the Commission had no intention of abandoning any of its scholars in the United Kingdom or in Canada. The NDDC Chief Executive Officer remarked that all those that were awarded scholarships by the Commission will be taken care of, noting that the NDDC was obliged to meeting all the terms of the scholarship.
I believe that if the NDDC has given anybody a scholarship, the NDDC is obliged to meet all the terms of that scholarship. We cannot send people out of the country and not pay them, not pay their fees.
Professor Ponde further explained that once the outstanding fees for the students were settled, new beneficiaries would be considered for the program, observing that it was not proper to embark on fresh awards while there were still outstandings to be paid for the current scholars. He said, however, that this did not amount to NDDC suspending the program.
Once we're able to sort out all those that were owing, then we can now think of subsequent people who can enter the program. But until we clear that backlog of debts, I don't think it's proper to embark on one. Not that we're suspending.
The NDDC boss stressed that beyond the physical infrastructure provided by the NDDC to improve the living conditions of the people of the Niger Delta region, the Commission must not neglect human capital development, which he said would ensure sustainable livelihood to the Niger Deltans. He noted that the gains of the program may not be calculated directly, but everybody who has gone and brought back to the country even a little change would have made an impact. He said that the program should be encouraged while we tone down on the ones that have been abused, especially the emergency projects.
The gains of that program directly, but everybody who has gone and come back to this country and has brought back even a little change will have made an impact.
Now, all the plans the NDDC has to help in stemming the pandemic called COVID-19. That's a term many now hear and just shiver. Well, in the Niger Delta, with only 20 cases out of 20 million, we really can't shiver about COVID-19.
The NDDC, repositioning to perform better. The change agents are in place. The task has begun, reassessing priorities.
The Niger Delta region can develop at a different pace from the rest of Nigeria. We don't need to develop at the same rate.
We must do what is right. Whatever has been done wrong, we must correct it from there.
The president insists that every penny spent on any project in the Niger Delta must be well accounted for.
Identifying no-go areas.
Every program that's been on, I think, should be encouraged, whilst we tone down on all the programs that have been abused and has given the NDDC a bad name, especially emergency projects which were abused in a very, very bad way.
Setting the standards.
The Commission must prioritize some signature projects in each state of the 9 states of Niger Delta.
Not only projects, we also have to empower our people. Agriculture, if you check today in Niger Delta, we have left agriculture behind.
The support is coming from everywhere.
That we will, in the best interest of the people of the Niger Delta, continue to work collaboratively with the membership of the board of the NDDC in the best interest of all.
Let it be that at the end of whatever period we spend here, that we will be able to say that there's been a change in the Niger Delta.
The NDDC, repositioning to perform better.
Now, onto other things that the NDDC is doing, of course, what is making the rounds is the verification, that on-the-spot verification that the EDP, the Executive Director of Project, is carrying out right now to ascertain and verify some of the completed projects, or yet to be completed, but are being done according to the standards of the NDDC that should attract payment. This week, we follow him to Rivers, Imo, and Delta states.
The Acting Executive Director Projects of the NDDC, Dr. Cairo Ojugbo, and his technical team have stepped up inspections of completed projects across the Niger Delta region in order to ascertain the veracity of claims by contractors that the projects have been completed and are ready for payment. The team recently visited some states in continuation of the on-the-spot assessment and also injected the new NDDC spirit to fast-track the completion of ongoing projects. The projects visited by the Niger Delta technical team are in Delta, Rivers and Imo states. In Delta State, the visit started in Burutu local government area with the inspection of the 14.8-kilometer ongoing Ojobo-Tamigbe-Bomadi-Tuomo Road project, which is about 63% complete. Here, the team used the newly acquired asphalt concrete coring machine of the Commission to bore holes on some already asphalted sections of the road to determine the thickness of the asphalt on the road and basically verify that the quality of work done meets the approved specification of the NDDC. After the tests were concluded, the engineers were convinced that the quality of asphalt laid on the road was satisfactory. The Acting Executive Director Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojubo, while describing this road as a legacy project that can improve the quality of lives of the people of the region, assured that the Niger Delta Development Commission will always pay more attention to projects such as this.
This is a sort of regional project that the NDDC should concentrate on. And from what we have seen, the quality of road is encouraging. We want our local contractors to emulate this standard of work. You have seen that now the NDDC is a new NDDC. It's no longer the NDDC of old. We're able to now call the asphalt to know that the thickness is according to specification.
The acting EDP also noted that the multi-billion naira Ojobo Tamigbe Bomadi Tuomo Road contract was grossly overvalued, and that the Commission will work out the correct and appropriate pricing and meet with the contractor on how to address the issue going forward.
The only problem we have now is that this contract is obvious that it is grossly overvalued. So our quantity surveyors and our team of engineers will now go in to see how we can get to the correct and appropriate pricing. And then we will now talk with the contractors on how to address the issue.
The contractor handling the project identified factors such as the request by the host communities to include features not in the original design of the project, kidnapping of their staff, and compensation issues as some of the challenges that have slowed down the progress of work on the road.
The day that we finish the backfill, the community come arrest 14 of our workers, beat them, we send them even to the hospital. We send the PRO, our corporate officer there to show them up. They cage him, then we send the very skilled captain of the GTF force to negotiate. He was able to retrieve our workers and the PRO. What is their problem? Their problem, they are claiming they did not receive compensation.
Still in Delta State, the Executive Director Project and his team inspected the completed Ezembiri Road and the Korobarizi Road. The technical team observed that the culvert and drainage work done at one of the junctions did not meet stipulated standards and instructed the contractor to return to site and remedy the situation in the area. Next was the turn of Bomadi local government area, where the EDP and his team inspected the modern motor park constructed with shops and toilets at Esenaibe community. This project is another NDDC initiative designed to provide an organized parking area with lock-up shops for commercial drivers and traders in the Bomadi overside area of the community. Construction of the modern motor park with shops is complete and now in use. The inspection team was also in Abigborodo community in Warri North local government area to observe and assess the reclamation, sand filling and shore protection work carried out by the NDDC to provide more land for the people of Abigborodo. In Uheli North, the inspection team visited the Government College Uheli to ascertain the quality and standard of work carried out on the internal roads of the school executed by the NDDC contractors. The technical team was satisfied with the quality of work done here. Before departing Uheli North, the team stopped over at Okeare Orupopo to inspect the road project going on there. From Delta State, it was a turn of River State, and here the EDP and his inspection team also visited some project sites to determine if the projects met the approved standards to qualify for payment. One of the road projects visited for inspection by the technical team is the Harmony Estate Internal Road in Rumukurushi in Obiakpo local government area. The NDDC team was received by leaders and members of the Harmony Estate Residents Association, who expressed their gratitude to the Commission for the various projects they have brought to their community.
It is a very good link road, and the thing came at a time and it was mostly needed. This East-West road was so bad
here became the main access where people are passing from expressway, East-West Road, connecting to Igrita Road, Aba Road, connecting to Arudi Rumudara Road. So grateful and happy.
While appreciating the gratitude of the community, the NDDC team emphasized the need for proper maintenance of the project by the people in order to enable the infrastructure last longer for their use.
Good community, well organized. So you should also be going into maintenance of issues like this, where when your lights, when your bulbs are bad, you find a way to fix them.
This is the ever-busy Shell location Eleme Link Road, Elele Road in Obiakpor local government area. The road was next in line for inspection by the NDDC team. Here, the quality of asphalt laid on the road and the structural integrity of the concrete drains were put to the test using the asphalt and concrete coring and the structural testing machines. The test results came out positive, and it showed that work carried out on this road by the contractor met the approved NDDC specifications and standards. Dr. Ojukbo noted that the Office of the Executive Director Projects has been moved to this field to adequately supervise all NDDC projects.
We have removed the Office of Executive Director Project from the cozy air-conditioned offices of the headquarters to the field. And that is the way it should be. Now contractors know that they have to behave themselves. And henceforth, the IMC would like to leave a legacy that the next coming EDP who will take over from me will not remain in the office, so that you can supervise what is being done by these contractors. A lot of them now are fidgeting, but we are determined to make sure that every money we pay to the contractor has value for the money.
The quality of job done on the Shell location Eleme Link Road, Elele Road by the contractor was commended, even as the road now serves as a major bypass for vehicles who can no longer ply the Aba Express Road due to ongoing construction going on there.
From the tests we've carried out, the test of the concrete test, the strength of the concrete, we found out that the contractor did something that was, or that is quite commendable. And even the thickness of the asphalt is also commendable.
My personal and technical assessment of this road is that the job has been executed according to scope and standards.
In Rumi Ibekwe community, also in Obiakpor local government area, the technical team visited Chibuzo Close, Park Crescent, Elder Emmanuel Avenue to ascertain the quality of work being carried out on these roads to see if they met the required specifications. The roads were subjected to the coring and structural test and failed the tests.
This is the result of the coring test. You can see that it has failed the test. This is just about slightly less than by one inch.
Another road that failed the asphalt and structural tests conducted by the NDDC technical team is the Azuabie Community Road, also in Obiakpor local government area. The team observed that the asphalt laid on the road did not meet the approved and required specifications. Ogbogoro Internal Road was next on the EDP and his technical team's tour. The team inspected the Farm Road, the Market Road, sections of the internal roads, and submitted that the contractor should be ordered to come back to site and do a proper job, especially on the surface of the Market Road. Still in River State, this time in Ubima in Ikwere local government area, the Road 1, Phase 3 and Coca-Cola roads were inspected by the technical team to ascertain the quality of work done on them to know if the projects qualified to be recommended for payment. And just like it had been thorough with its inspections, the team observed that the roads and drains here were poorly constructed and were already failing at several points. The Executive Director Projects, Dr. Cairo Ojukbo, who was visibly angry, noted that it was a total lack of sincerity for this road to have been presented for inspection and payment by the contractor. He ordered the contractor to go back to site and do a thorough job.
Of course, the contractor must come back because I've not seen anything he has done here. This new job here. We are sorry to say so. They want to encourage them, but that does not mean that we should condone poor quality work. In fact, this is indiscipline to present this for payment.
And now we're in Imo State. Here, the inspection team made a stop at Ikereduru local government area where it inspected the Unwobula Imiri Indioji Umodumoku road. This road is about 2.47 kilometers long and has about 3 kilometers length of drains. Although the road was said to have been fully completed by the contractor, the NDDC team observed that it had failed in some sections and directed that the contractor should return to site and correct the situation. The contractor promised to go back to site and remedy the observed anomalies.
So bravo to the EDP. Now, with the advent of the coring machine, many roads are now properly assessed as to their suitability and to their meeting up with NDDC standard. I mean, you can't fault how this team is going about anymore. As we say, if you've done your roads well, your projects well, you have nothing to fear from the NDDC. You will be paid. Thank you for joining us. Be careful. Keep your social distance. Stay at home when they say you should. Do not sneeze too much in public. And most importantly, take lemon and hot water every morning. Thank you. See you next week.
This is NTA International. Go Relive on GoTV. Welcome to GoTV's Relive Channels. This is a world of sports where you can relive the best sports moments on GoTV.
She does! Oh, he's got it too! Oh, they've got another one! Oh, see! Really is there like
Go relive the most epic stories in sports on GoTV from our Relive channels on SuperSport on GoTV. GoTV. Live it, love it.
24 hours a day, 7 days a week. You can watch NTA International live on your TV, computer, iPad, tablet and phone. Log on to visiontv.co.uk and click on Entertainment, then NTAI. You can also download the iOS or Android app on your mobile devices to watch NTA International on the go, anywhere in the world. NTA International, your window to the world.
is the network service of the NTA.
I just don't understand this coronavirus thing. Is it real?
See, coronavirus, known as COVID-19, it's a global problem and has killed thousands of people in China, Italy, Spain, UK, US, and other countries around the world.
Okay. Now, why are they saying that we should stay home?
Because if you go outside and get in contact with someone who is infected, you become infected and then come back home, affect your family. That's how it happens in other countries.
Now, please, help me explain what this social distance is all about.
See, as we are now, the virus travels through the air and by touch. We must maintain 6 foot distance at all times.
Oh, so it's not by washing my hands with soap and water or hand sanitizer that is only important?
Washing of our hands regularly is very important. But we must come together and fight this virus like we did Ebola. It is our responsibility to each other.
Breakfast your day, every day.
Nestle, good food, good life.
Picture this, a culinary experience across northern Nigeria with exceptional women sharing exciting recipes from their communities. Picture some of your favorite celebrities cooking, sharing knowledge and enjoying iftar right on your TV screen. From miyan gauta, dashishi, miyan kubewa, lele and other iconic dishes, then spice to life with the flavor of Maggi. You can stop salivating now. I'm Jamila Lowell, and you're welcome to Maggie Diaries Season 3.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. Dear brothers and sisters, in view of the COVID-19 pandemic we are currently challenged with, we at Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society enjoin all Muslims to adhere strictly to government directives geared towards stopping the spread of the virus. These measures include the stay-at-home order, washing of hands with soap and water, using hand sanitizers where water is not available, and other hygiene measures. We remind you all of the words of Allah in the Holy Quran, chapter 2, verse 195, which says, "And do not throw yourselves with your own hands into destruction." We also remind you of the hadith of the noble prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, which says, "Do not cause harm or return harm." Please stay at home and stay safe with continuous dua. This message is from Project Itfine of Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society. Al-Habibiyya Islamic Society, from Allah to you, a light.
And I've got this very important message for you guys. Stay at home. No. Stay safe. Noruma. This is the right thing to do at this time. And don't forget, remember to wash your hands. Sachasia kage samaya sama, sachasia isia kage ofuma. Together, we'll beat this thing. Are you ready now? Are you ready, man?
Nigerians, coronavirus is dangerous. It can kill. When you see this sign, high fever, cough, shortness of breath, drowsiness, pneumonia, don't panic, don't hide, don't embark in self-medication. Promptly visit the nearest medical facility. Report all cases to the nearest hospital. Prevention is key. Avoid contact with infected persons. Avoid crowded areas as much as possible. Wash your hands regularly. Use hand sanitizers. Your life is precious. Stay alive. Live long, live right. This message is sponsored by the Federal Ministry of Information and Culture and the Nigerian Film Corporation. Nigerian Film Corporation, powering possibility.
The infrastructural revolution flourishing in the Nigeria Immigration Service over the last few years is unparalleled in recent history of the service. The service has so far executed numerous projects across formations nationwide. In the words of the Comptroller General, Muhammad Babandede, in quote, expensive equipment plus inefficient workforce equals to expensive, inefficient system. Absolutely correct. Today on Immigration Half Hour, we will bring you the infrastructural reforms taking place at the Nigeria Immigration Service. Welcome to the program. I am Victoria Omari Obeka. No doubt, handling modern migration, border management, and effective service delivery requires world-class infrastructure, highly qualified and skilled workforce, and above all, a comprehensive framework. This is a dream of the current leadership of the Nigeria Immigration Service, of a world-class technology building that will serve as a hub data and information sharing center, which is at the verge of materializing before the end of 2020. This is evident as concrete and brick work were concluded as early as February this year, bringing the contract execution to 70%, which is 2 months beyond the time of delivery. Here are clips to mark the celebration of that feat.
We started this project about 12 months ago, and it was full of challenges, but we had the 100% backing of the company. I was interested in the progress and how we're moving. He visits the site all the time. In fact, he has a screen close to his office that says everything that we're doing on site. So if anything happens, he called me and said, I can see X, Y, Z, and I have to give explanation. So thank you very much, sir, for support up to this stage. The top-up ceremony is something that is unique to Nigeria Limited on all their sites. When they are constructing a building, once they get to the last concrete bit of the building, they normally invite the client to do that ceremony, to perform that. The concrete work has been completed already. So that is why we're here today. So we'll go upstairs to the invited guests